What's up, everybody? We are 1 week post the World Cup final race in Maryland. If any of you followed that, you know that the stick shift class was on fire. I think 3 different cars were in the sixes, and that still blows my mind that it has evolved from maybe 6 or 7 years ago. It was really doing something to run a low 9, or even if you was a high 8, you was the top dog. Now there are so many people that are in the low 7 range, and you've got a handful that are in the 6s. And what's even impressive is most of these people are doing it on OEM style parts. And that brings us to our fan favorite here at Rock Solid, the Grubbworm. And we're going to talk about kind of what he did. And if any of you watched it, he went out there and I think he knocked the tires off the first qualifying pass. The second qualifying pass, he ran a 7:06 at 2:06. That's a picture of his time slip. So then, I don't know in what order these really were, but his next, well, I thought I had it saved. I don't guess I do. Anyway, his next run was a 697 at 211. And then he backed it up by a 696 at 208, I believe it was. And obviously, you know, the rest of the, you know, they had some issues and stuff throughout the race. And he ended up in the finals against Josh Chonsky, which is no slouch. Josh always does good every time he shows up at the track, or ever since I've known him, since probably, I guess, 2017 or some range is when I met Josh. I've never seen him go to the track and really do bad. He's always, you know, cranking out some good times. He's an excellent driver, and he's making plenty of steam with that Corvette they got. So, during World Cup, I'm always communicating with Jonathan, trying to, you know, see if he's having any issues, or to make sure that, you know, what we did is not causing him any issues. Well, he told me that he was having a little bit of problem with the double slips in the pipe trying to come apart. And that just, I couldn't wrap my mind around how that was happening, because if anybody knows how a double slip works, it's not going to come apart. It's not like a bellow or anything. So anyway, they patched some stuff up, got through the race, and you know, now we're the week after the race. Well, he calls me up and says that his media guy just told him that they were going to be displaying the car at PRI at the first part of next month, which I think it's the 7th. So here we are, rushing around again. But we're gonna talk about what issues he had and kind of what's going on, and go from there. And we're gonna get him ready to look really good at PRI. So he did bring me a present though, which I thought was really nice. Got a nice plaque with his best mile per hour. And I mean, 696, 697, I mean, it's pretty much the same, but this is his fastest run. You can see our little logo on his bumper there. We put our sticker on there. We got a big logo on the back window, obviously, but that really makes me proud that we're such a big part of that car, and that he keeps bringing it back to us to help him maintain it. And Like I said, cars like this they kind of take priority because Jonathan, me and him go way back, and I'm actually working on a little video on how that kind of started with them, and so look for that coming if I ever get around to getting it done. But anyway, let's go out here and check out what happened at World Cup. So I really didn't know he was going to bring the car this fast. I really didn't know about the PRI thing either. It was kind of a surprise to both of us. So the car showed up yesterday, and I actually told him that it looked probably the cleanest I've ever seen this thing. He usually brings it up here, and you know, I'm picking on you, Jonathan, but he usually brings it up here and it looks just dirty. Jonathan is the type of customer that he races his car. He knows it's not a show car, and he's not afraid to let it look like a race car. Me, you know, he brings stuff up here, I'm always trying to clean it or sand it or get it looking good again where it's, you know, shows off what I've done to it. But he races this thing, and if it goes down the track and goes fast, that's what he's about. So what was going on at World Cup, he told me that the double slips was pushing apart, and like I said, I couldn't wrap my mind around that. Now, let me just show you, thankful that the more performance people, guys, Stephen Plemons, he always has a TIG welder. He was racing in the stick shift class as well in his Camaro. I think it's a 69 maybe, but he always has a TIG welder with him. So they stitched these things together where they couldn't come apart, which still, I couldn't understand what was going on. You can see he stitched them together right here, but you can see where they used to be. You got over an inch right there. Right here you can see you got an inch and a half that it slid out. I thought, what is going on? How does a pipe move when the engine is fixed solid with an engine plate, transmission mount in the back? You got OEM motor mounts on this LT block as well. You've got the turbo on a Maven mount. Everything is fixed. So how are those things pushing apart? Well, we took the hood off yesterday, and my eyes went to something automatically that I hadn't ever seen, which it might just be because I've not seen a lot of cars that's been pushed this hard. But check this out. You see anything funny about that collector? What about that one? Don't look at the heat mark right here. Look at how it swole up like a balloon. These pipes are getting so hot, whether it's, you know, how tight he's running his tune-up or just how far he's pushing the car. The back pressure on it is not but about 1 to 1, so it shouldn't be, you know, putting that much strain on it. But these are 16 gauge collectors, just like anybody would run. They're from Cone Engineering, so good company, good brand. I generally don't run a stamped collector. These are, I think, rolled, so it's the material thickness is the same all the way around. It's not like it's been stretched out and it's thinner where your pipe's weld in. It's actually rolled. So it has to be getting so hot. If you've ever seen those videos where they're doing an engine dyno and they're doing pass after pass and the headers are glowing red and stuff, if you know anything about metal, when it glows red like that, just imagine. Well, I actually said it in the Slick Rick video that I posted before this, where we done the hot side, or when I was welding the hot side. I gave the example of putting a metal pole in the vise and heating it up and hanging on it, and whenever it starts to glow red, it'll almost just fall over. Well, that's exactly what these pipes are doing. It's getting them so hot that the stainless is getting so soft that it's just collapsing. So that's definitely a problem. The other headers didn't have as big of primaries. Obviously he wasn't pushing near as much power as he is now with the other setup, but I have never seen this. So this is new territory as far as seeing how the headers get distorted in the collector like that with the heat. So what we're going to do, just a basic rundown. He's got PRI the 7th. He's got to get the car back a little bit before that to switch out some of the Lexan and stuff, just, you know, make the car presentable. So we're going to build another set of headers. They're going to look pretty much the same, but we have a set of our billet collectors that GLS fabrication machines. We sell them on our website. We're going up to a 2-inch primary, and it'll still be a 3-inch outlet on it. We're going to do the small block Chevy header flanges, but do the adapter flange where it transitions to more of a spread port design. It also adds another bolt hole to the header flange. So we're hopefully going to strengthen that up, get rid of the having to transition to some kind of weird shape port, because these adapters turn it from a square port, which is opened up as big as it possibly can for the bolt pattern, and then it transitions into a round port. So there won't be as much stress on the metal, you know, just having to put the round tube up there and weld it. Which, that stuff around the flange, there's some stress marks and stuff starting to show. And I think there's a few splits where we had to form the pipe and really heat it and beat it. But the main thing is the collectors are, you know, warping. And like I said in the Slick Rick video, these wastegates weigh about 4 pounds a piece, not counting the dump tube on the end of it or the clamps and flanges, because whenever I put the one on Slick Rick, it's also a 60. It might be slightly heavier than these Gen 5s, but you know, you're pretty well 5 pounds of weight hanging off the side of the pipe. So when that pipe gets hot and it's already got 50 pounds of back pressure in it, and he starts firing it on the 2-step, or he grabs the next gear and it, you know, pops a big ball of fire out the pipe, that's a lot of explosive force in that pipe. And you can see by the collectors what kind of effect it's having on it whenever it's that hot. He said it's actually getting hot enough where he had to put this sleeve on the throttle cable because it melted the throttle cable even that far away. And with these headers, because we built them in such a rush, it's starting to show a little heat mark on his hood right there, and I don't like that. Like I said, I wish I could have built these like I did the Steve Chirito car, the black LT1 that's on down in the videos. If you scroll down and check that out. So I'm going to try to reconfigure these things with a new set of billet collectors, the adapter flanges, and just put some new double slips in there. Talked to Jonathan about that yesterday. You know, if the double slips go a whole year and they have to be changed every year, that's really not a big deal considering the benefit they have, because when we did the double slips, it was a lot easier on the header gaskets. They didn't develop leaks as easy. The header, it's just a lot less pressure on the headers when the hot side starts to move around when it gets hot, because it's going to move. You're not going to stop it. If it can't move somewhere, it's going to start prying apart, just like his. You got the motor fixed, you got the turbo that's on the Maven mount, and something is going to move, and it did. Tried to pry the things apart. So we're going to address all that. Another thing we're going to do is the downpipe. I'm probably going to cut it back in here somewhere, and we're going to add a little bit more turn up to it, because it's just a bunch of stuff. The car tries to drive left a little bit once it gets about halfway down the track, we could go on and on and on about theories about, you know, how much force the exhaust is pushing out the side of the car when it's going down the track. And there is a measurable amount of force, but whether it makes a huge difference or not is still kind of argumentative. But I compare it to like a leaf blower. Anybody put one of those backpack leaf blowers on and just hold your hand out there limp and hit the throttle and see how it does to your arm like that. Well, just imagine the front end of this car hanging up in the air because it's carrying the wheels or whatever, and you've got probably double that amount of force coming out of the exhaust pipe. So even though it might not be but a pound or two of push, that might be enough when that car is barely hanging on trying to go straight to just make it veer out of the groove. And that's kind of what he's experiencing. So it might fix it, might not, but it's just one of them things that we're trying to do better and better every year, and it is getting better every year. So we just got to address things that are going on and you don't really know without testing. So that's another thing we're going to do. I think I pretty much covered it all. That's about it. So in the videos upcoming, I'll try to document, you know, like I probably won't make it like an hour-long video like I did last time with the whole redo thing, but I will document the updates and stuff to this car, you know, leading up to it going to PRI. So Jonathan will just want you to remember one thing. It's LT junk, baby.